Heel versus face. Brock Lesnar. Well, before we actually start our video, I hope you all subscribe. Well, based on my previous videos, I've seen a lot of people who aren't subscribing to my channel, and I hope you all do. And now, here we go. Without any doubt, Brock Lesnar is one of those monster heels which WWE build, and they didn't much make him weak. Unlike those monsters character in WWE, while some of them are booked to be weak. Well, unless he's facing Goldberg or someone with the high caliber, well, he doesn't that much look like weak. He's always booked strong, regardless if being a babyface or a heel. So in 2002, he debuted as a heel. Well, I think the Raw after WrestleMania 18. Well, most of his time he actually does the dark matches, which he competes with the lower card. And now being promoted into this full mid card to the main card scene. Well, he was pushed fast. I mean, you just debuted Raw after WrestleMania, and then by SummerSlam, you got the WWE Championship, and you defeated the guys such as the Hardys, Hulk Hogan, The Rock in your first few months. Wow, ain't that a good resume? And when he's having his undisputed WWE Championship run, he actually defeated The Undertaker, which by this time he is doing the American Badass gimmick. But regardless of their matches, well, Brock Lesnar actually looks strong. Well, I think this is one of The Undertaker's self projects which he actually elevated Brock Lesnar by his own. And when he is actually, well, doing stuff as a heel, well, he actually faced the Big Show, which Paul Heyman turned on him, and this actually made his first face turn. While his first face run, which actually he gathered the support of the people from the audiences. In this face run, he was able to cut his own promos, he was able to make comedic skits for Kurt Angle, and also, well, this is much of a dominant face run, which also gathered a Royal Rumble win for him. While he won the Royal Rumble 2003 because I think the stipulation for him was if he didn't win the Royal Rumble, it's like a last chance shot for the WWE Championship, which actually makes sense. To the build up of that, Team Angle is trying to screw out of him for the title. But luckily for him, he win the title at WrestleMania, and we all remember the botch, well, what he did at WrestleMania, the shooting star press, which actually almost break his neck and gave him concussion because of the miscalculation of the move. And during his face run as the champion, he faced the guys such as John Cena, Big Show, Kurt Angle. While he has this comedic skits with Kurt Angle, may I add that during also all of this time, while he is also feuding with Paul Heyman, and then Kurt Angle actually returned as a babyface. These two actually got a healthy relationship, a friendship, which later on, while Brock Lesnar turned the heel again, aligning himself with Vince McMahon of all people. Well, the second heel turn actually happened during a steel cage match, which Brock Lesnar actually acted like he actually was out, and then he turned on Kurt Angle, and then the rivalry continued with him now acting as a heel. And well, Vince McMahon was in his corner and sometimes Paul Heyman. This led also to a Survivor Series match and then a feud with Goldberg and Hardcore Holly, I think, at the Royal Rumble 2004, because the storyline was Brock Lesnar actually took him out because he kayfabe injured him or injured him in real life. So yeah, when Brock Lesnar was actually feuding with Goldberg, well, this was this first because they were both champions on their respective brands. Goldberg as the world champion and Brock Lesnar as the WWE champion. And then Brock Lesnar actually cost Goldberg the Royal Rumble 2004 match, in which, in return, Goldberg cost Brock Lesnar his WWE Championship. And at WrestleMania 20, well, the two actually had this match, which the audience turned on them because they knew, well, they were both leaving. The audience were actually not into that match. They booed the both of them in that match. No one was the babyface except for the referee Stone Cold Steve Austin. Which, because of this match, even though I think Goldberg won that match, well, Stone Cold stunned the both of them. Well, because the crowd isn't responding well to the match. Well, after that, he went to NJPW and to UFC later on. And actually, he did some football also, I think. Fast forward, he returned in 2012 as a heel still. So by this time, he was actually a two-time heel and a one-time face. Which this actually, he has a feud with John Cena, which he actually lost. Because Cena just lost a match from The Rock. And then he feuded with Triple H. And then he won in their first match. Triple H winning at Mania. And then Brock winning at Extreme Rules. Also, for some fans, well, it was the first time that they saw Triple H's real name because, well, the rivalry actually, well, Brock Lesnar actually went to the WWE headquarters and went to Triple H's office, which some actually, well, they didn't know his real name, which is actually Paul Levesque. And yeah, that's also a somehow a memory for that feud. And then he feuded with CM Punk at SummerSlam because Paul Heyman turned on Punk. And then he feuded with the Big Show at the Royal Rumble 2014. And then he defeated The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Yeah, this was a shocker. This was actually received a lot of hate and somehow positive reviews because they think that Brock Lesnar is not the one who should be able to beat the streak, but because of his background, well, they let him do it. And it was also Vince McMahon's decision. And then yeah, people are saying why not give it to a younger talent, which till to this day we have still arguments for that streak alone. Brock Lesnar destroyed John Cena at SummerSlam and 16 suplexes, I think, and then he destroyed Roman Reigns at some of their feuds, and then, well, he actually defeated John Cena at Night of Champions, while Cena defeated him technically by disqualification due to Seth Rollins' interference. And then the memorable triple threat at the Royal Rumble between him, Rollins, and Cena. And then at WrestleMania, where Seth Rollins cashes in after Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns' brutal match. And then by the next night, he was over and he was treated as a babyface. And then yeah, he was a babyface. He returned to feud with Rollins, and then later on with The Undertaker, which they tried to make Taker a heel by this point, which is actually rare and actually confusing. But yeah, they made The Undertaker somehow of a heel. In their rivalry, Taker is always low-blowing Brock Lesnar, which Taker won the SummerSlam match, and then Brock winning the Hell in a Cell match. And then after that, Brock Lesnar competed at the Royal Rumble 2016, I think. And then after that, well, Brock Lesnar feuded with Dean Ambrose, which I'm not sure if he is still a babyface by this point or reverted back as a heel. But nonetheless, I think he was returning as a heel because in this next match against Randy Orton, he actually brutally destroyed him and Randy Orton was left actually bloodied in the ring. After that, well, the tease for Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar feud because of a game. I'm not sure if it's 2K19 or 2K18. Yeah, 2K19 or 2K18, which I think it was 2K17 or something like that, which they teased this feud, and then the feud actually happened. With first Goldberg squashing Brock Lesnar, and then at the Royal Rumble, Goldberg actually able to eliminate Brock Lesnar easily. And then at WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar getting his revenge. And then after that, he had this Universal title run, which, well, this run, since it's a part-timer, well, this run actually had 500 plus days of him being a champion. Well, yeah, during that time, he defended the title against Braun Strowman, Samoa Joe, Roman Reigns. Before, well, Roman Reigns dethroning him for the title, which later on, Roman Reigns dropping it due to his disease. And then Brock Lesnar reclaiming it, and then Seth Rollins winning it at Mania. And then he actually defended it against Finn Balor at the Royal Rumble. And then he won the Money in the Bank. And then, well, after that, he cashed it on Rollins. And then he dropped the title again back to Rollins at SummerSlam. And then he won the WWE Championship against Kofi Kingston. And then he had this feud with Rey Mysterio. And then he actually competed in the Royal Rumble match, even though he was the WWE Champion. And then he dropped the title to Drew McIntyre. What are my thoughts with heel versus face Brock Lesnar? Well, we see two sides of Brock Lesnar as for this heel and face run. As a heel, he is serious. Well, even though Paul Heyman do the talking, he does the actions. And his actions speak louder than his words. Though, from 2014, well, his moves are limited because, well, he does only most of his matches are suplex. And he actually spammed that. Also his Kimura lock and then the F5. Well, we can't actually blame him if that's his moveset for now. Because, well, that's his gimmick. And people actually hated him. Well, not just the heel hit, but because the fact that he is a part-time champion, which he didn't appear with the title that much. But the tickets and the sales, while they are evident that in every appearance that Brock is actually having, people are actually invested. And even though he was standing in the ring, well, there's a lot of people who is actually watching that segment alone. Well, he does things as a heel that some other heels may not be capable of doing, such as beating the streak. Well, yeah, he is the one in 21-1. Even though Roman Reigns defeated The Undertaker later, but the guy who originally beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania, well, he looked dominant. And yeah, he always bring that to himself, that he is the one who defeated The Undertaker at Mania, and even in Paul Heyman's promos. After that, well, as a face, we've seen a face of Brock Lesnar, which he was funny, even though he did the Brock party as a heel. Well, he gathered ovations for that also, which instead of heat, while people are praising him for his Brock party, even though he's a heel. And as a babyface, well, you will remember all of his segments with Kurt Angle, and Kurt Angle himself, when he does these comedic segments, well, they are all memorable. And thank you for watching. Again, this is Mikeratto. Subscribe, like, comment down below, and share. Subscribe. Well, that's it. Thank you for watching.